Hey guys, today we're talking about Prohibition. So, Prohibition at first seems to be a really strong card, and if you don't see why, I'll explain it to you. So, you declare a card name. Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used. So, cannot be used is not really on any other cards, but what do you think cannot be used means? So, cannot be used means they cannot be discarded for effect, I believe. They can still be discarded for cost, and that's about all you can do with cards that cannot be used. You cannot normal summon them, you cannot special summon them. I don't know if you can set them or not, but probably not. You cannot use them as material for a fusion summon for something like polymerization. And and effects that mention the card specifically, those effects can also be negated, so really weird. I'm not sure if it's bugged or not, but if you have Despian Caritas and Fallen Elfbaz is declared by Prohibition, then I believe you cannot use the search effect of Despian Caritas. So, overall, very brutal what you can do with Prohibition. But then you look at this line here, cards already on the field are not affected, including face down cards. So, going second, this card is miserable. It's pretty useless. The most you can do with this going second is, like, declare Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. You cannot declare, like, Maxi, for example, because Maxi can simply be chained to the activation of Prohibition. So, going first, you would need information on your opponent as well to know what they are playing. If you did know, then you could, for example, call Dark Magician, and the amount of cards that get blanked and cannot be activated at all is pretty insane, actually. So, let's just do a quick search. Dark Magician, a card that mentions Dark Magician, correct? Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used. So, Magician Souls does not mention it, except here it mentions it. So this is really weird in how this works, actually. So, I'll try not to think about it too much, but you cannot summon Dark Magician here. I think Magician Souls is probably still activatable, but like, I think Magical Circle might not be activatable, honestly. Eternal Soul might not be activatable either. I will probably have to research this a bit more to make sure I'm correct. Because Prohibition is really weird and no one plays it, so could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you cannot activate Eternal Soul. Except, I believe it's because Eternal Soul has two different effects. You can still add Dark Magic Attack, or Thousand Knives, which are dead cards anyways. But it mentions Dark Magician here, so you might not be able to activate this, actually. So, pretty weird stuff. So then we have Salesman here, which is also pretty weird. Declare a card name. For the rest of this turn, your opponent can activate cards or the effective cards with the same original name as that declared card. The same restrictions apply to you, but for the rest of this duel instead of just this turn. So Salesman already, this is weaker because you can still normal and special summon the cards that Salesman declares. Not that it's usually relevant, but you just can't. And then Heroic Champion Rongo Miniad, just for no real reason in my opinion. Rongo Miniad, actually, if you see here, that's a colon. That means it starts a chain. So, Rongo Miniad pretty much detaches for effect. So, this negates the activated effects, basically. It doesn't say anything about continuous effects. So, this just becomes a permanent floodgate. Yeah, that's Salesman for you. If this was, like, yeah, if there was just a period here, everything could be okay. But the fact that it's just once per turn already is pretty bad. So it's just detaches for effect. I couldn't tell you why Rongominiad does that. Like, just for example, another number monster with like a very similar, well, kind of effect. We have Baguska. Once per turn during your standby phase, detach one material from this card. And this is not an effect. This this will just happen every standby phase. Even if you use Sales Ban, I believe, Baguska will still detach, but not Rongominiad. Why? I don't know. Baguska is number 41. Number 86, Heroic Champion, Rongominiad. They are both numbers, but for some reason, Baguska doesn't detach for effect, and this does, and this is just awful. Baguska at least is removable, right? How do you remove Rongominiad? You cannot Kaiju Rongominiad. You cannot, like, attack over Rongominiad. The only type of summon you can do is just basically flip summon and setting monsters. That's all you can do into Rongominiad, which is horrendous. The only small saving grace about this combo is that usually the Sales Ban is paired with Numbers Evil. So Numbers Evil requires your opponent to control a special summoned, a monster special summoned from the extra deck. And the like five extra deck slots you require for this, like decks that would actually play this don't care, so yeah, pretty annoying overall. Well, in short, the Prohibition is only good going first, and if you simply declare Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring with this, it just doesn't have the flexibility that like a different card that essentially does the same thing of just preventing you from getting Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, like Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave has more usages than simply stopping Ash Blossom on the first turn. It can be used on your second turn, sometimes, or it can be used as kind of piece of interaction, being a banish negate, which is still fairly strong against a whole assortment of decks. So, just in usability for going first and second, it is much better than Prohibition. The other interesting thing you can use Prohibition for without like having knowledge of what your opponent is playing is, I suppose you can like declare board breakers. Like if you declared Gamma Seal, just for example, Gamma Seal cannot be summoned, so that actually does stop you from being Kaiju'd, but you would have to like kind of guess that your opponent is running specifically Gamma Seal and not like Godarla, for example, which is pretty crazy. You can also do like evenly matched and stuff like that. So Prohibition can be pretty good going first exactly. But even if you have to go first with it, you basically have to do soul reads on your opponent with like very little information. And keeping in mind they are banning Smoke Grenade soon, as of recording this video. You won't have Smoke Grenade as an option to look at your opponent's hand and then like go ahead and declare Prohibition on something for your opponent. That is not something you will be able to do soon. But there are still other ways to get like information on your opponent's hand, like Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, Neospatian Marine Dolphin. Where is it? Let's see. It's only a rare, isn't it? Ah, there we go. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. This allows you to look at your opponent's hand. And this also does a little bit of burn. Can this card FTK? I mean, if your opponent activates like Maxi and you can loop Dolphin somehow, inflict 500 damage to your opponent, you would have to activate this a stupid amount of times. Was that like 18 times or 16 times? Oh yeah, 16 times. You'd have to loop and activate Neospatian Aqua Dolphin and have a target 16 times. Yeah, actually that's cutting it close against like a lot of decks actually. you'd have to make them draw, like, you might as well win by deck out via Maxi before you do that then, I suppose, but whatever. Prohibition. This card? Well, it's kind of funny going first. It's not like the worst card in the world, but there are better cards out there. That's basically a Prohibition in a nutshell. And it has some weird interactions and pretty brutal. So for campy use, this actually does stop Branded Fusion, because Branded Fusion does require you to use a fusion summon a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz, and then you have to send by effect basically a Fallen of Albaz and something else. So this does stop like Branded if you declare Fallen of Albaz. So if Branded does have a resurgence, this is a brutal going first card for them to deal with, you know? Just casually declaring Fallen of Albaz, maybe that brutalizes them. I don't know. I think their primary strategy will still be revolved around Branded Fusion, so should work out. Anyway, that's about all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.